This one is too.
The film opens with the storytelling of a folklore that suggests that some people have the charisma to conjure spirits from other realms with their music. Scenes shift to an injured man of color driving himself to a church in an underdeveloped Mississippi in the year 1932. The church's pastor recognizes him as Sammy. He tells him to quit his passion for music, as it has attracted the evil forces in his life. Scenes rewind to a day earlier, revealing that Sammy is a cotton-picking slave of the white folks. He returns home to look for his guitar, but it's gone. Elsewhere in Mississippi, identical twins named Smoke and Stack are seen purchasing an old place to open their own club. The owner charges them extra, but they don't mind that, as they're used to being treated indifferently by the white folks. Back on Sammy's side, he visits the church, where the pastor is his father. He's hidden his guitar from him, as he believes music is the root of evil. Sammy takes his guitar and speeds away with Smoke and Stack. They stop by at one point to get their supply truck. There's a snake sheltering in their truck, which the brothers mercilessly kill. They have a short argument about the opening of their club, but then eventually come to a mutual agreement and part ways. Sammy and Stack drive away in their car, while Smoke follows them in the supply truck. Outside their club, Smoke recruits a young girl to signal him with his car's horn in case she spots someone unusual coming towards his club. He then heads to his Chinese friend's grocery shop to purchase catfish for his club's grand opening. The girl starts honking, so he heads out immediately. He catches two thieves stealing his supplies, so he shoots them in the leg even though he knows them personally. He returns to his friend, Chow. He sends his daughter, Grace, to fetch her mother, who's in charge of orchestrating events. She charges Smoke more than usual for their service. He happily agrees to pay the price. On the other hand, Stack and Sammy stop by a train station, where they recruit a beggar who plays harmonica. Stack is generous with the money, so the beggar agrees. He and Sammy both play music to gather the public, while Stack advertises the grand opening of his club. While Sammy has a brief encounter with a married woman named Pearline, Stack bumps into his ex-partner, Mary. She's mad at him for leaving her, so she says vulgar things to humiliate him in public and leaves right away. Now Stack, Sammy, and the beggar head back to town. Stack stops by a cotton field to recruit one of his friends, Cornbread, for his club. Cornbread nearly attacks him for being disrespectful, but his wife inclines to take the job on the word that Stack will pay him far more than the white folks pay them. On Smoke's side, he visits his divorced wife's place where his daughter is buried. The wife, Annie, is a black magician whom Smoke despises for not saving their daughter. The two set aside their differences and start making out. Scenes spin to a man whose skin has fully burnt in the scorching sun. He seeks refuge in a random couple's house. A couple of vampire hunters come to the couple's doorstep, looking for a vampire, but the wife threatens them to leave. When she returns inside, she witnesses the burnt man drinking her husband's blood to revive, revealing that he's a vampire.
Don't cry.
The grand opening night finally comes. Smoke and Stack are seen quarreling over charging people on the doorstep. Stack doesn't want the people of his community to pay at the door, as he's all about welfare, whereas Smoke has a business mindset and wants people to pay to enter his club. A lot of people show up that night, including Mary and Annie. Mary catches up with Sammy and Stack, after which Sammy and the beggar play music. While everyone rejoices to the music, the burnt vampire arrives outside the bar with the couple, whom he's turned into vampires as well. Sammy gets acquainted with the married Pearline and makes out with her. Cornbread refuses to let the vampires come in without paying for a ticket. Smoke and Stack also arrive at the doorstep, The vampires pose as musicians looking for a job opportunity, but the twins refuse to let them in because they're white. They end up leaving.
You have 10 seconds to get more snacks and like the video. You shouldn't play with terror.
Stack continues to get to know Sammy better. Mary tries to intervene, but Stack ignores her. She storms out of the bar in anger and comes across the vampires. She sits down with them as they sing her a song. Suddenly they start drooling and attack her. They turn her into a vampire. Alas. Now she heads back inside and starts flirting with Stack. Simultaneously, someone attacks Cornbread, who's outside peeing. Smoke gets busy solving a fight between some folks, which allows Mary to take Stack somewhere private and turn him into a vampire during intercourse. Smoke starts to get suspicious, so he comes to check up on Stack. When he sees Mary biting him, he shoots her multiple times, but she survives and escapes. The beggar sends folks home while Smoke begs Annie to save Stack from dying with the help of her voodoo, but she clearly tells him there's no cure for that. Shortly after, Cornbread returns to the bar and asks for permission to enter the club. Annie quickly understands that he's become a vampire too, since vampires can't physically enter a place without permission. Cornbread acts innocent and demands his pay. When Smoke comes closer to pay him, he grabs his arm and tries biting it, but Smoke instantly shoots him. Cornbread tries to hurt him again, but Annie pulls him inside and locks the door. Now Stack gains consciousness and begs Smoke to let him out of the room. Annie prevents Smoke from opening the door, which maddens him. He breaks the door and comes to attack Smoke, but Annie throws garlic water on his face, which burns his skin and prompts him to run away. She figures that if the garlic superstition worked to repel the vampire, then so would silver, wooden stakes, and holy water. Hence they stash garlic and equip themselves with wood and guns. After Annie's rituals, they discover a bitten man fallen on the floor, so they decide to drag him outside before he turns into a vampire. When they head out, they see vampires at a distance now multiplying and partying. When they head back, Annie forces everyone to chew on garlic to make sure everyone is a human. They're sheltering inside the bar. The group plans on hiding in the bar and escaping after the sunrise, because vampires weasel their way back into their bills when the sun comes out. Shortly after, Chow arrives, who's now a vampire. He tempts his wife to come out, but Annie makes sure she doesn't stray. Chow points out that the system has already killed the black folks and left no future for them, so they should join hands with the vampires and rebuild themselves, as their community has no bigotry against the black folks. Stack claims that he holds the memories of his maker vampire. He confirms through those memories that the man who sold them the place for their bar was planning on killing them after taking their money. He urges Smoke to become a vampire and rise against that man. When Smoke refuses to follow in their footsteps, the vampires demand Sammy, claiming that his music has the power to conjure the spirits of the past and future. When nothing works, Chow threatens his wife to kill Grace, who's resting at home if they don't let the vamps in. She loses her temper and invites them in so she can fight them. Smoke and Annie try to cover her mouth, but the invitation gets sent, and the vampires barge in. Chaos ensues when the vampires attack the remaining humans. Stack jumps on Annie and bites her neck. Smoke gets caught up with another vampire, so Perline shoots Stack. To end Annie's misery, Smoke wedges a wooden stake in Annie's heart and kills her, which brings him great pain and trauma. While the beggar cuts his wrist and attracts all the vampires, Smoke, Sammy, and Perline try to escape through the front door, but the town's first vampire, Remick, herds them back inside. Perline pokes a stake in Remick's back so he attacks her. But Smoke shoots him first. Pearline forces Sammy to leave without her. Sammy now jumps out the window with his guitar, while Smoke continues fighting Stack. Remick chases Sammy outside, crazy after his songs. Smoke attempts to kill his own brother, while all the vampires walk back to their maker, Remick. Remick constantly bugs Sammy to the point where he hits his head with the wooden guitar. This burns one side of his head, and his pain is felt by other vampires because they share a connection. Remick rises again and comes to attack Sammy, but Smoke makes it in time and kills him with a sharp wooden stake. Simultaneously, the sun rises, and all the vampires get burned. Now Smoke tells Sammy how he got rich by stealing from a gangster. He convinces him to leave and stays behind to fight the gangsters who return to get their money. Sammy takes his car and drives away. He ends up in his father's church, just as we saw in the beginning. Meanwhile, Smoke engages in crossfire with the gangsters and gets shot multiple times. He manages to shoot them all in the end. Smoke sees his wife, now in heaven, breastfeeding their infant daughter. Sammy ditches his father and escapes in Smoke's car. In the post-credit scenes, we see Sammy, who's now an old man. He continues to pursue his passion for music and sings at a bar. Here, the film ends.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome recaps.